welcome to this edition of the Coaching Minute. So I wanted to talk to you today about emotional intelligence, very popular topic right now. But one of the indicators of whether or not we are using our emotional intelligence is how much impulse control we have. So people tend to associate emotional intelligence with empathy. And you can actually have very low empathy and have a lot of emotional intelligence skills. So that's not the only indicator, but it's very hard to be emotionally intelligent and have low impulse control. And impulse control is a spectrum, so we have to look at all the areas of our lives because we may have tremendous amount of impulse control with spending money and then no impulse control behind the wheel of a car, for example. So the thing about impulse control is the definition, the way I see it, is being able to keep yourself from doing what you don't want yourself to do. And so this isn't just, restricting alcohol or whatever, or Netflix. All those things are very important. But really, we're looking at our habits at work, for example, and in the running of our lives. And so please know that our bias, our body and brain are biased toward action. And that's where the impulse comes from. The brain rewards us for action. And so we have the impulse to cuss someone out or respond to that email or put a nasty review about our employer online. That's because the brain wants us to take some action. Emotional intelligence is being able to restrain yourself from that action so that you can think and decide if it's a good idea or not. So this spreads the whole gamut. I really want you to look at your habits of quickly accepting a meeting without seeing if it fits into your schedule. That's an impulse. Or perhaps you're going to jump to a conclusion about something that happened, which I get tempted to do all the time in my work. Going to jump to a conclusion about what the person's intentions were. When, if you just look a little further, ask some better questions, have a strategy of being nice and kind first and giving people a chance, this could go a really long way in not creating things that you have to clean up then in the future. And so as you're looking at your work, your habits, another area of impulse control is working on the fly. So one of the coolest guides that I ever came across for meetings, whether or not you should speak up in a meeting, is, does it have to be said? Does it have to be said now? And does it have to be said by me? It can be the same thing with taking action. Does this have to be done? Does this have to be done right now? And does this have to be done by me? We do so much on the fly. And then we end up, that increases our mistakes from a brain science perspective, that when we do things on the fly, we're not completing our tasks, or we're leaving part of it undone, or we're answering 3 questions and leaving 2. And so we're just creating more work. And so before you give into that momentum of getting things done, and I have to get on these tasks, and I have to call that person back, and I have to multitask while I do this, could some impulse control help in being more strategic about when you're going to do what, and if you are the person to do it, and if you are the person to say it? So I hope you will give this some thought. I do want to just spend 2 seconds on people who have too much impulse control. This is the same problem, but the opposite, in that you're really denying your brain the action that it is biased toward, and that you're taking a ton of time to make decisions, that you feel a sense of inertia. And so people who are risk averse can sometimes have trouble, that they have too much impulse control. So if you're in that, I'd say 20%, that 80% of us have trouble because our impulses are running our lives, and probably 20% might have too much of it. I hope this helps. Have a great day.